Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another session of Verilog HDL. So in the previous session, we discussed regarding design block and stimulus block and how we can have two different types of, say, simulations with respect to the stimulus block. That is, we discussed regarding the two styles. That is, how the stimulus block itself can instantiate the design block. That is, it will create a object or an instance of the design block and give the inputs to that, and then it will check out what is the output and whether it is in the expected form. So that is the first style, wherein the stimulus block itself stimulates the design block. That is, it creates an instance and it drives the design block. This is the first style. And the other style which we spoke was in which you have a top level design in which both the blocks are instantiated. Stimulus block is instantiated separately and design block is instantiated separately. And stimulus block will provide the necessary inputs to the design block, and it will wait for the output, and whatever output it is receiving, it will try to have a check with that. So using those things, it tries to check the functionality. So here, that is what stimulus block is doing. So in this one, the first design, the stimulus block instantiation, what is present with respect to the design block. So this itself becomes the top level. That is, the stimulus block itself becomes the top level block. So what is the purpose of this top level block? It is to instantiate the design block. So that is the first style. Second style, both blocks are instantiated so that this entire thing itself becomes the top level block. In the previous case, only the stimulus block is a top level block. From there, you are instantiating the design block. But in this case, what you're doing is you're creating instances of both. So which will be acting as the top level block. And the lower level block, say if it is a ripple carry counter, it will have T flip-flops. Then T flip-flop in turn will have D flip-flop and a NOT gate. So that is what we had discussed. So we had discussed even regarding this block what we have shown over here. So stimulus block is required for what in say the for 4-bit ripple carry counter. It is required to provide the signals, that is the clock and the reset signal, to the design block. So it has to give this information to the design block. So it has to control when you have to reset, when the clock has to start or when it has to stop. So those all things. So that will be taken care by the stimulus block. Then why it is done? Because I want to test the design block. Say if I'm implementing a ripple carry counter, I want to test whether that counter is operating in a proper form. If I press reset, the counter should be reset to 0. So whether that is happening or not. If the counter is not set, then the count should keep on happening. Say it is 0, 1, 2, 3, so on, it should happen. So this is the functioning what you're testing over here. So that functioning is tested in the 4-bit ripple counter with the help of the stimulus block. That is the two things. That is one, you are checking the functionality of the counter, and another thing what you're doing is whenever you reset, say somewhere you are in middle, that is count is 5, and you make the reset pin high. Let us assume that when it is high, the entire thing gets reset. So when it goes reset, the next this thing again it should start from 0. So it should be 0 until reset is high. So there may be a number of cycles passing through. So that is what you're testing over here. So one is you're testing for asynchronous reset mechanism. That is at any random time you give a reset signal and see what happens. And if reset is in proper form and counting should happen, then you're testing the functioning. So that is what you're trying to achieve here. Now we have some information related over here. So that is useful in the coming 4 slides. Next 1 or 2 slides we'll just be using this information and we'll try to see what happens. So what he specifies, cycle time, that is clock signal, will be equivalent to 10 units. So what is specifying? So this is a clock. If you just observe this part what is present is equivalent to 10 units. What he is specifying. Cycle time is 10 units. And next point, what he specifies is reset signal stays up. That is, reset signal is 1. So that is, this is this information. Reset signal stays up implies what? Reset is high. So whenever reset is high, what happens is Q should be reset to 0. That is, Q should be equal to 0. That is what you have to observe. So that is this thing. Reset should be 0. So what he is specifying, reset signal stays up from time 0 to 15. So it is in terms of units. So if I start somewhere from here, right, if this is 0, so 0, if I just see this is 5 units, this is 5 units. So in total, I have 10 units. So next 5 units, it is 15. So up to this point, a reset will be high. That is, it will be 1. So this will check out in later simulation result. This waveform is not relevant to this. Just for information, we are just trying to analyze it. So here, as I specified, this is 5, this is 5. So in total, this is 10 units. What is specifying? Reset signal stays up from 0 to 15. So another 5 units. So from, if I start from here, right, 0 to 15. So what does this imply? Reset will be high during this period. So these are actually related to the simulation, what we'll be seeing in the next slide. Okay, in next slide, we'll be observing this. Then again, he tells that then after this, it goes to 0, reset goes to 0. And then again, it becomes 1 from 195 to 200. So if you just observe from 15 units, from this unit to somewhere, say, let us assume that 195 unit will be somewhere here. 195 unit will be somewhere here. So during this time period, it will be all low. The reset will be all low. So this is some information is providing, which will be used in the simulation aspect. So after 195, right, 195 to plus 10, so another 10 units. So reset will be again high. Reset will be again high. 10 units means one cycle period. That is how it will be. One cycle period of the clock. Then output Q counts from 0 to 15. So it's a 4-bit ripple counter. So it will be counting from all zeros to all ones. It will be counting from all zeros to all ones. So which is 0 to 15. So that is, it is a 4-bit ripple carry counter. That is what he specifies. So cycle is, that is cycle time of clock is 10 units. Reset signal will be high from 0 to 15. And then again it goes up for from 195 to 205. In between, again it will be low, and after 205, again reset will be low. That is what he specifies. And Q will be counting from 0 to 15. So let us see the stimulus block. So this is a stimulus block, which is acting as a module. So module is related to the stimulus block, and this is the end module. This is the end module. So in between, what stimulus block should be functioning? What is the function of the stimulus block? The function of the stimulus block is what? It should say in this case, what they have done is they have created the instance of the design block. They have created an instance of the design block, and they're giving input to this design block, and they're testing what is the result of this. What is the result of this? So in this case, what you're doing is you have to provide the clock signal, and you have to also provide the reset signal. So you have to test the functionality, that is whether the intended counter is being implemented or not. And apart from that, you have to test for something asynchronous reset. So if I reset it at some random point, whether reset is happening or not. So here, as I specified in this case, right, what is happening is stimulus block is creating instance of the design block. So what is a design block? In previous cases you might have seen. So if you just go back. So here, ripple carry counter. Ripple carry counter is the design block. This is the design block. This is at the top level. This is at the top level. So now what stimulus block is doing? Stimulus block is creating an instance of this ripple carry counter. It is creating an instance of this ripple carry counter. It is giving the inputs, necessary inputs, and it is trying to see what is the output of that design block. That is what it is trying to do. So here the module name is ripple carry counter. So these all things we had discussed previously. So ripple carry counter, how it is designed. Ripple carry counter top down design approach we had used. So it has 4 T flip flops. That is T underscore FF. These are the T flip flops which are being which are being defined over here. So and T flip flop itself is again declared as a module over here. So T flip flop itself will be again divided into two. So if you just see what is there, you have a D flip flop and a NOT. So you have a D flip flop and a NOT or an inverter. So this is how the design approach is being observed in the example what we are discussing. Okay. So coming back to this point, so we have a module which is related to stimulus block. In this, don't worry about all these definitions because we'll be going through this in the coming forth modules. So just try to understand what is happening. Okay. So we have declared something as clock. So some keyword is used reg. Then we have declared a reset. Then wire is also a keyword. We have declared Q. So three things are being defined over here: clock, reset, and Q. These will be given as input to what? They'll be given as input to the ripple carry counter. Ripple carry counter. So that is what we'll be doing here. So three things are defined: clock, reset, and Q. Then what is this module stimulus doing? It is creating an instance of ripple carry counter. So the instance created is R1. R1 is the instance of ripple carry counter. And what are the parameters it has to deal with? These are the terminal lists: input, output port, terminals. So these are the things what it will be dealing with. So here it will be Q, clock, and reset, which are related to these three parameters. So I have created an instance. I have created an instance. Now, what I should do is this stimulus block should provide some information related to the clock, and at the same time, it should try to set and reset the reset pin. Set and reset this. That is either make it equal to 0 or make it equal to 1. So based on some this thing logic, you can try to implement this. So here, if I just observe, we have something called as initial and always. So don't worry about this. This is actually a kind of say how we say behavioral kind of implementation what we have. So now we'll not bother much. So here initially what you're doing is you are setting the clock. You are setting the clock. What you're setting the clock to? Clock you are setting it to 0. Clock you're setting it to 0. So this is a syntax. This is a syntax to define sized numbers. Sized numbers. So this again in next this thing we have that information. Just for your understanding purpose, just remember that clock you set it to 0, which is just 1 bit in this form. So what is this? This is the value which will be present in this. What kind of value it is? It is binary value. It is binary value. And what is the size of this information? The size is 1 bit. If it's a decimal and other stuff, then again you can go ahead with the other informations. So there also we can have different kinds of definitions. So what you're doing, you are initializing the clock to 0. You are initializing the clock to 0. This is the value. But value is in what form? It is in binary form in this case because B is present over here. And what is the size of this binary value? It is having only, the size is only 1. That is, it implies in this case, there is only 1 bit. So by initializing clock to 0. Then after you initialize the clock, then what you're doing is if you just observe, every 5 units, hash 5 implies every 5 units. So here after that, what you're doing, after every 5 units, you alternate the value of the clock. So initialized to 0. So after 5 units, it should go back to 1. After 5 units, again it should come back to 1. Again 1. Again 1. Again 1. Sorry, 1 0 1 0. It will be alternating. So as I specified previously, what he had specified in the previous slide. So he had specified that clock is of 10 units. 10 units. So after every 5 units, right, it should be alternating its state. If it is 1, it should be 0. If it is 0, it should be 1 in the next 5 units. So therefore, clock is 10 units. This is how you have defined it over there. So for every 5 units, you alternate the clock. So that is, this is the first 5, this is the next 5. So in this case, what happens is this total is 10 units. So this is how you have defined it here. So that you have done. Now what I should do is I should provide a mechanism for reset. I should provide a mechanism for reset. So now here you can just observe what you're doing is, so you have started the clock. So I'll just take a simple representation over here. So this is the clock. So this is 5. This is 5. So let us assume that this is the starting point. This is the starting point. So this is 5. Clock is around 10 units. Now what he is specifying over here, he is trying to set and reset the reset pin or the reset signal what we have. So initially what he does, reset is initialized to logic 1. This is what kind of value? This is a binary value. What is the size of this value? The size of this value is 1. This means since it is binary, the size is only 1 bit. Size is only 1 bit. So that is what it specifies. So here, if this is clock, if this is a reset, initially what you're doing, you are setting it to high. You are setting it to high. So now next you can see that after 15 units, you are resetting it. Sorry, you are making it 0. You are making it 0. So whenever reset is high, Q will be equal to 0. If reset is high, Q, you are resetting it to 0. If reset goes low, Q's value depends on its previous condition. Q's value depends on its previous condition. So now it will be 1 up to how many units? So if I just observe here, so initially you started off making reset bit 1. So if reset bit is 1, what it implies? Q will be equal to 0. So this will be 0 unless and until reset becomes 0. So when does reset become 0? When reset is equal to, when 15 units have been passed. So 15 units implies 5, 5, 5. So somewhere here. Somewhere here. If I assume it from, if I assume that clock starts with 0, this is where it will be. But if I assume that clock starts at this point, then reset will be 1 from this point to this point. So it depends on what logic is implemented. What logic will be implemented. So let us see what we have. So we can I think, have, as per program, I guess they have considered it from this point. So that is 5, 5, 5, and 5. So here this is clock. This is reset. So reset is high from 0 to 15 units. So at 15th unit, what should happen? At 15th unit, the reset pin will be set to 0. Now again, this is a binary value and its size is 1. Only 1 bit is present. reset is 1 bit. So you are resetting it back to 0. So when reset is 0, what happens is Q value will be giving me the count. Q value will be giving me the count. So when at this position, Q was equal to 0. So after this, Q should be 1, Q should be 2, Q should be 3, and so on. So when the count changes, whenever the clock change becomes comes at the positive edge or level triggered. So depending on what type of triggering you are using, based on that, there will be a change in the count. So if I just assume, so if I just assume Q over here, so since here, if you just observe, reset is 1, 1, 1 for this first 15 minutes. For this first 15 minutes, then what is happening is, so reset will be 0 from this point to this point. Okay. Then after 15th unit, right? After 15th unit, Q should start to count. But count will happen only when the next clock cycle is available. That is when the clock cycle is high. When the clock cycle is high. So what happens is Q will be 0, 0, 0. And after this, what happens is Q starts to count from here. I should actually take all the 4 bits. So Q0, what it will be, Q1, what it will be, so on up to Q3. So since it is like 0, 0, 0, say if this is the LS bit, for example, if I consider this as the LS bit, so if the count is 0, 0, 0, 0, so LS bit is 0, then if the count is 1, LS bit changes to 1 in the next stage. So here during this point, what happens? It will be 1 and remaining will be still 0. Remaining will be still 0. So what is happening is if I have to represent it in the count form, right? If I have to represent it in count form. So here Q will be 0, Q will be 0, Q will be 0. Now reset pin is low. So Q should start to count. But here the counting won't start. Here the counting won't start because the count is happening at the rising edge or at the level triggered option. So still the Q is 0, but next when it comes, it will be decimal 1. Again, when next this thing comes, so rising edge comes, Q will be 2, next rising edge, Q will be 3, and it continues. So it continues as long as reset is equal to 0. Now you can see that, so first 15 minutes are done. First 15 minutes are done. So after that, from this 15 minutes, next 180th unit, at 180th unit, you are making reset is equal to 1. So if you just observe what is happening, in actual condition, if I start 0 over here, this is 15th unit. So from here, you add 180 units. So it will be at 195 unit from this position. So it will be 195. So at that point, again, Q turns out to be 0. So it will be 0 up to how much time? Unless and until again reset is made 0. You make the reset is equal to 0. So here you can just see again reset is when it is made 0. It is made 0 when after 10 units from this point. So that is 15 units plus 180 plus 10th unit. At that position, this will be 0. Then again, what you're doing is after some amount of time, you're terminating it. You're terminating it. So here you can just observe. So if I start off from 0 to 15, reset is 0. Sorry, 0 to 15. Reset is 1. Reset is 1. But when 15th unit starts, right? 15th unit starts, reset is made 0. That is what this condition implies. So this will be the first case, 0 to 15, it will be continuing. From 15th unit onwards, reset will be 0 up to what? Up to next 180 units. So that is 15 plus 180. So it will be like 195. So from this point to this point, reset will be 0. So during this count will be happening 0, 1, 2, so on up to depending on how it goes around. That is every 10 units, there will be a change in the count. So from 0 to 1, 10 units should be passed. That is one clock cycle. That is one clock cycle. Okay. So next condition, what he has given, he has specified that again reset is made 0 after this case. So that is 10 units after 180 of the previous case. So previously what it was 195. So it was 195 plus 10. So it will be 205. So at that time, what is reset? Reset is sorry, I think I missed out. It will be 1. So from 195 to this point, 195 to this point, reset will be 0. Sorry, reset will be 1. That is this condition. And then what happens is from this point to the next 20, then it will be terminated. So that is previously what I had 205 plus 20 means it is 225. So from this point to this point, the count will be, the reset will be 0 because of this value. It will be 0 and it will continue. It will continue only up to 225 units. So that is what is given in next state. So that is the result what he has specified. So here you can see that from 0 to 15, what was there? From 0 to 15, reset was, so if I write reset was 1. So therefore, there is no count. So one clock cycle has already gone over here, but count hasn't changed. That is what you can observe. 5, 5, 5. So up to this point, you can see that Q is still 0 in this. It is 0, 0, 0. But after 15th unit, right, reset changes to 0. So from this point, the count should happen. But what happens is after another 5 units, clock goes high, only that moment the count changes. So count becomes 1 during that stage. So again, so that is, it is the 20th unit. It is the 20th unit. So again, after every 10 units, right, because clock is considered 10 units, every 10 units, clock keeps on, ripple counter keeps on counting. It counts up to how much? 15. Once it reaches again 15, right, again it starts to recount it, 0, 1, 2, and so on. Now what is happening is, here you can see that 190th, it is 2. So 200th unit, it will be 3, but what is happening is in between only you are resetting the pin. So when you reset it, what is happening? Q has to be equal to 0. And this will continue, and you can see that this is the last unit because 225th second is in between. Next count change will be happening at 230th unit. This I am not encountering because I am terminating at this position itself. That is at 225. I'm terminating. During that, I don't have any count over there. That is Q is equal to 2. That is what we are doing over here. So here you can see that you are resetting at this position. Then somewhere you are resetting here. Then you are resetting here. So this is asynchronous reset which is happening. And in between, you can see that I am able to count from 0 to 15. So again, if I reset, again the count starts. Again, if I reset, again the count starts. Here also I am having a reset point. So you are testing the functionality and you are testing the asynchronous reset. Asynchronous reset. So if you have this condition satisfied, then your ripple carry counter is working properly. So this is how you check the design block using the stimulus block. Okay. So any queries